Hey everyone, it's Wolfgang. I wanted to show you this example to show the benefits of owning rental property. This was a property in Sunnyvale, California, in Silicon Valley, and we actually lived in this apartment complex back in the early 90s. And we had a two-bedroom apartment. We were paying $700 a month. There were 390 units, and the annual gross rent was 390 units times 12 months, $3,276,000. Simplifying assumption here, all the units were the same. The net operating income based on 30% expenses was $2,293,200. That was back in 1992. Now, the 30% expenses that can vary depending on the part of the country that you lived in and the quality of the property. Property taxes can vary and insurance can vary throughout the country, and then obviously the age of the property comes into play there too. But in our rentals now, we target 30% expenses, and so I'm going to use that throughout this example. Okay, so net operating income back in 1992. Fast forward to today. Two-bedroom apartments in that complex are now renting for $3,244. So the gross annual rent is $3,244 times 390 units times 12 months, $15,181,920. Okay, so 30% expenses. The net operating income today is $10,627,344. Quite a jump from back then when we first lived there. Now, there's another assumption here that about the vacancy, about no vacancies. That will play a role too, but I'm just assuming fully occupied through time. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to do was, what if we bought this property in 1992? How would the investment have played out over time? Just to show you the benefit of owning rental property. In this part of Sunnyvale, where this property is located, it's a very nice part of Sunnyvale. The cap rates, 5% for a cap rate, pretty much par for the course in that part of Sunnyvale. It's a nice area. And so I'm going to use that in this example. Now, the cap rate generally is calculated by dividing net operating income by the purchase price, right? But we're trying to find out the purchase price. So I'm going to swap in the cap rate. I'm going to divide the net operating income by the cap rate to get the purchase price. And it was hypothetically, this is a hypothetical example, $45,864,000 if we bought the property in 1992. So what did it cost to enter this investment? Well, there was a down payment, 25% of the purchase price, $11,466,000 to get into the investment. And then the next thing I wanted to do was figure out what was the net economic benefit through time of this investment. How did things work out? So I use the future value of an annuity formula. And if you do the math here, you'll see that they did a 5% rent increase on average each year through time. So in the future value of the annuity formula, I used 5% through 32 years of ownership with a starting net operating income of that. And the accumulated net economic benefit through time, the total was $172,675,275. So this was the investment. This is the net economic benefit through time. And if you do the math, you'll see that that's about a 9% return annually through those years. And the cool thing about real estate is the return is stable. It's very predictable, very reliable. If you compare it to buying a portfolio of dividend-paying stocks to get the cash flow, the stocks can lose value. That does happen. Generally, though, with real estate, it's a very stable asset. The 9% return is very reliable. So that's a great thing about this. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was, in addition to the 9% there is a multiplier effect. You know, what do we do with the net cash flows we're getting from the property? Well, part of that can go to get debt service, obviously, but there's a lot of money there that needs to be reinvested. We're not going to put it in the bank. We're not going to put the money earning 2 or 3% in the bank. We're going to buy more property. We've got tax write-offs from depreciation. Depreciation is a tax write-off that you don't even have to take money out of your pocket to get. It's an expense, but you don't have to actually buy anything. You shelter taxes with depreciation, and then we're going to reinvest the cash flows that we get, the net cash flows. Periodically, we're going to do cash out refinancing of the loan on the property. We're going to take cash out because the property value increases over time. We refinance the prior loan and we take money out at that time. So these things are then invested in buying more property. So the 9% is only part of the story, right? We've got a multiplier effect from reinvesting the proceeds. So it's a great activity. It's a great investment, it does a lot of good for people because a lot of people do not want to own their own place. I've got 2 members in my own family who rent. They don't want to own. They don't want the hassle of being owners. So you're getting a great return here. You're building your wealth. You're building a portfolio of properties, and you're really helping out a lot of people because a lot of people do not want to cut the grass, don't want the maintenance of owning a home, and so on. So it's a great thing to do for yourself and for people in general because a lot of people prefer renting. So these are big numbers, obviously. I'm going to do a future video on what it looks like when you're just starting out with smaller numbers. This is obviously a little bit later in your career when you're buying larger properties, but I'll do a video in the future showing, you know, what it looks like when you're just starting out. And I hope this helps. If you have any questions, you can post questions in the comments. I'll try to get to them. And I want to thank you guys for watching and have a great day.